Back to school. It was an early, crisp morning. The winter's chill lingered in the air, and frost still clung to the bare tree branches. A cold breeze breathed over the parking lot of Ambrose High. The buses lined up against the curb opened, allowing students to begin their day. Puffs of white clouds drifted from their faces as they chatted amongst themselves. Some of the students were still waking up, yawning and moaning the whole walk to the doors of the two-story brick building. Plenty of smiles still lined the students' faces as they saw their friends. One in particular, coming from the visitors' parking lot, outshone them all. Vibrant emerald irises darted around the school's landscaping, encouraging a grin as bright as the sun. The young lady looked ready to run about the grounds like a bumblebee, clinging excitedly to the arm of a tall, elegant man with long silver hair in a white dress suit. Her evergreen pea coat covered most of her outfit, but light wash denim was just visible tucked away inside a pair of shin high brown leather boots. Her white knit skull cap clung to her sandy blonde, wavy locks bobbing down her back. The man's smile expressed his joy at her excitement. Someone seems ready for their first day of school, he mentioned with a hum. I can't believe it's finally here. The girl squealed as she tried to hold in her enthusiasm, shaking from exhilaration. Is this really happening? It will once you walk through the door. The man laughed warmly. You're right, she giggled, hugging her gloved fist tighter around his right arm. She released her embrace to grasp his white porcelain hand, dragging the elder closer to the entry. Come on, Winter! As some of the students stared at the scene the two were making, the man called Winter laughed with a full heart as they sped up their pace. Neither of them minded the suspicious gazes. Today was a long awaited milestone, and they wanted to bask in their shared happiness. Let the world look on as they celebrated. The chime of the bell announced the end of homeroom, releasing students to their first class of the day. As students stood to leave, idle chatter rose among them, typical post vacation conversation. It was the first day back from winter break, and there was always something buzzing after a break. Can you believe 2 weeks went by already? I know vacation's never long enough. One of the students was just opening her black eyes as the rest of the room emptied. She had been resting her head on a puffy brown coat pillow and folded forearms, tucking her hands inside her long sleeves. The gray and black rings running up the sleeves stuck out of her evergreen t shirt, tucked inside old denim jeans. Yawning wide and loud, she sat upright at last to get ready to leave. Dude, do we have geometry homework over break? Man, I didn't even take my books home last month. After putting her coat back on, the girl reached under the desk to grab her satchel bag. It had been resting against her shins during the morning announcements. Pulling the strap over her black crown, she stood from the desk to walk sluggishly toward the hall. Pausing, the student stared at the lockers across from the doorway. Where am I going again? She muttered to herself. Holding in a breath, she glanced left and right, trying to regain her bearings. First block. She breathed with relief. Take a left. She turned down the filling hallway, passing students chatting away at their lockers. For the most part, she didn't seem to notice them, or perhaps she was drowning out the racket of their voices clashing together. Whichever the reason, a tap on her right shoulder made her flinch in surprise. Morning, Jay, a tall golden blonde boy said with a smirk. She looked up at his nearly 6 foot height with a frown of disapproval. He didn't seem fazed by her glare. The navy blue wool coat was unbuttoned, showing his heather gray thermal shirt and denim blue jeans. His sea blue eyes shimmered with patience and grace down at the grouch. Why are you so awake, Leif? She griped in a low voice. It's not natural. I know you don't normally wake up till second block, Leif stated pleasantly, reaching to pet the flat black locks. But some of us actually sleep at night. How much did you manage anyway? You look pretty rough this morning. What is this thing you call sleep, Viking? Leif laughed at the last word as she rolled her head out from under his large hand. The girl made a fussy expression before returning to resting irritation. As disgruntled as she appeared, Leif smiled as if he knew she didn't mind the contact. They continued down the hall together. You saw the sunrise again, huh? Have you thought about going to bed early to combat your insomnia, Jamie? I'm sure your aunt has mentioned it could help. Bed before 10? Jamie rumbled in her low voice. That's a joke, right? Ah, yes. A third student chimed in as they passed the classroom, fluidly wrapping her arm around Jamie's shoulders. I remember staying up after midnight in middle school. Those were the days. Chels. Jamie hissed at the sudden appearance. The earthy colored layered skirts, cream peasant top, and black pea coat gave a mature contrast to the tomboy's look. The vibrant friends sandwiched her, continuing their pace without a pause. Jamie was not awake enough for any of this. Closing her dark eyes, the grumpy teen tried to calm her racing heartbeat pulsing in her ears. What were you doing up after 12 a.m., Chelsea K? Leif balked at the other girl, appalled at the admission. Hazel eyes glanced up from a similar height beside Jamie as they walked down the hall. Her copper blonde locks twisted up into a clip behind her, flowing down to her left shoulder. Watching late night anime? She said flatly, as if he should have known. I didn't have the streaming service till last year. Now that we have to be up earlier, I can watch whenever I want, wherever I want. How else did you watch those shows we talked about in middle school, eh? Val always programmed the VCR to record during the week so we could watch together on Saturday morning. Frey and I still watch together on Saturday, but Ivory convinced mom and dad to get the box when Val moved out. He took the VCR with him to watch the old tapes. Did you say VCR? Chelsea gawked as if the teenager had just spoke a different language. While the two continued their conversation, a boy in a gray washed denim jacket and blue jeans pushed himself between Jamie and Leif. As he passed, he pulled Jamie's right forearm away from the others. She opened her tightly closed eyes to see her rescuer. Her chest tension eased at the sight of the purple to blue ombre dye job in the shoulder blade length hair. The short spikes along his shoulders and stud trimmed hem framed random patches of rock instruments and band logos. Chatty Cathy's as ever. A gruff voice spoke up as the boy let go of Jamie's arm. The jingle of his wallet chain drew Jamie's weary attention to his hip. He glanced back with a groggy face of his own. They are way too happy for 8 a.m.